Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armor your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to day one of the Florida home series. We just got done with a quick series. We're hoping for a much better one. It's a good old grudge match between the Dallas Empire and the LA Guerrillas. It's Lano and Standy guiding you guys through the action. But before we kind of dive deeper into this, we got to talk primarily about Dallas. Study coming into this particular series, you see the first three major results. They go from second to third, and then at the last major, they finish top 8. I feel like one of the major talking points coming into this series is a matter of, can they find their footing now with Vivid? How important is this series, and then trying to achieve that goal of finding their footing?
I feel like this is a really important series, not only for the Dallas Empire, but for a player like Vivid. He's going up against his old team in LAG. He knows all the ins and outs, all the play calls, everything. So he should be able to go positive this series, because so far the guys had a 0.6 for this team, and it just hasn't been good. You need to be that Slayer submachine gun that makes this team great, because when they put out Hook, they expected Felony to come in, or at least iLLeY to switch that role, but then they get Felony out of here. They bring back Vivid, and now Vivid, he has to be able to perform. He needs to be one of those SMG players that are able to put up those numbers, and a match like this today versus his old team could definitely be the spark of it.
Without a doubt, my friend, very well laid out, and now it's time to go ahead and meet our teams. The first one we're going to be taking a look at, of course, is your defending world champions. We talked about the Dallas Empire, their third match with Vivid. They're looking to try and be crowned once again, but there's many hurdles in trying to achieve what is a very, very difficult title. But again, let's go and meet the roster. A big series for them, the Dallas Empire.
Dallas Empire have smashed the gates open. Fella with the round one ace. Oh, it's a shot punch. Oh no! Once again, they saved the day.
And there you have it, your Dallas Empire. I mean, what's that? It's a number of different ways we could go about this. We start with the new addition of Vivid, now his third series with the team. We've talked about the stats. I'm sure everybody's probably aware of it now. Not a great start for Dallas, and despite going 1-1, we start with the recent loss from the Ultra, and then prior to that, a very, very close game with London that went all the way down to a Game 5.
Yeah, and it's just really difficult when you talk about this team, because obviously they're sitting at 1-1 throughout stage 4. The series versus Toronto told me a lot about what this team is. Like, because when you go up against the big dogs, you need to be able to perform, and it just not only was Vivid, but it was also Shotzzy. And this is a guy, when you pick up a player like Vivid, when they sat Hook down, they expected Shotzzy to be that Hall of Fame, that MVP kind of SMG player. But so far, he hasn't answered the call. He's sitting on a 0.88, and him and Vivid, that 1-2 punch needs to be on point today.
Definitely does. And when we talk about the other side, we talk about the SMG line. It also needs to be on point for this roster as well. Again, we talked about a team that made a change. They decided to put Vivid on the bench. Dallas Empire later joins that team. A roster that is all about structure. A roster that is also trying to bring themselves back up in the standings ahead of that fourth major. Let's go and meet the roster, LAG.
Where my friends go, it was simple. When the ends low, switch the tempo. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. I go down, bet I strike, I go hard day and night. Money on the line, keep calling. Money on the books, need all that. My kids, they'll be ballin'. Got a real bankroll, not for Instagram. My mama on the line, keep calling. Praying for me, know I need all that. Told me it's not about ballin'. Real blessed, but I'm still sinning, man. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. I go down, bet I strike, I go hard day and night.
And there you have it, your LA Guerrillas. I mean, what's that? A lot of people coming into this series a majority of them have been talking about, hey, Guerrillas, they got a really good chance to steal this series. There have been a number of different people who have kind of gone out there and said, hey, I'm picking Guerrillas in this particular series, just kind of given how Dallas have looked lately. I got to ask you, how do you think that LAG do this? How do you think they come out today versus Dallas?
I think that they come out and they win a respawn, and that's just something that they struggled with in their last matchup versus New York. They came out and won the search and destroy, but they lost both hard points and they lost that control. So they need to just show some consistency in the respawn game modes. And just taking a little bit of stats from that last match versus NYSL, the only player over 1.0, and it wasn't like a regular 1.0, it was a 1.2, was Chino. And the fact that he kept those stats up throughout an entire crazy series versus New York, you just need more better performances out of the rest of your teammates. You need aBeZy, you need Cellium to really come out and just be on point today. So that's going to take us right into our keys to victory presented by Game Fuel for LAG. SMGs will set the pace today. aBeZy and Cellium need to be on point. Combined versus NYSL, they were both sitting at -48, and that's just not good. I'm pretty sure they were both sitting around a consistent 0.7. It's just not good out of the SMG play. Then Respawn needs to improve for them to be true competitors. They are 12th in the CDL in hardpoint and 10th currently in that control game mode. And then they also need to bring that energy. Players can feed off the hype. A lot of that relies on an early map victory, and we saw it. When this team wins, you see how Chino gets. Chino's like, I'm the best player in the game. And like me having past play with aBeZy, with me playing with aBeZy before, I was always that guy that was hyped. So when you know you have that energy on your team, it's going to obviously bring the best out of Chino, but it's also going to bring the best out of aBeZy. So they need to be on point today.
Yeah, and it was kind of surprising when we were looking at the stats for them versus New York. It was almost like shocking to see that aBeZy and Cellium just did not perform the way kind of that we expect them to, you know, on a consistent basis, specifically a player like aBeZy, but it is going to be a tall task. Now our Game Fuel keys to victory here for the Dallas Empire. What, man, he had a total turnaround today from Vivid. He ended last week with a 0.63 overall KD after their 2 series. Also, cannot allow for control to continue to be a weakness. Much like Seattle, this team is also on a control losing streak as they have lost their last 8 in a row and also have not won since the Hook trade. Also to go along with that, Shotzzy, he has to take over and lead by example in the slang. So far, he has a 0.88 KD in stage 4. And I guess kind of continuing off of that stud, how much of this series do you think relies on Shotzzy? How important of a factor does he play in this series?
I feel like he's really important because we saw for LAG, they tend to struggle with the SMGs playing well. That's why when they went up against New York, it was really hard to beat them in a respawn because you got HyDra and Asim were just running around the entire time picking up kills. So the way you're going to cause them problems, it comes in the respawns. You need your SMG players to play well. No 0.6 out of Vivid, no 0.8 out of Shotzzy. Shotzzy needs to be the all-star today, and Vivid, he needs to be consistent over 1.0. And the fact that he's going up against his old team, like I said, he's got all the strats. He's got the playbook basically written down in his brain, so he should be able to provide that for his team now.
And I want to ask you too, like, you know, obviously I'm sure you've been in this position before where, you know, you maybe been dropped by a team and then you later on go to face off against them. I mean, given, I know you've been through it a few times, but I guess kind of given Vivid's perspective, like you're looking to find some stability. Now you're facing off against your old team, a lot of pressure on your shoulders. What should be the mindset of Vivid in this match, you think?
I think if you're looking at it the way I looked at it, is like every time that I got dropped, I felt like I was the player that didn't deserve to get dropped. So it just adds this extra fuel of fire that you can just, it's just a different feeling, man. So for Vivid, it's all about just coming like, hey, you guys made a mistake. So I'm going to show you why you made the mistake, and he's going to come out and perform today. So that is what I can compare, at least from my perspective, from me formerly playing. It was always against Nameless for some reason. He always dropped me, and I always come back and beat him. But for Vivid, he's just going to come out and just show his old teammates why that roster change was just wrong.
I'm just imagining Nameless right now just sitting in the green room with like the Arthur meme, just fist, you know, maybe clenched a little bit, but no, all jokes aside, let's go take a look now at our quick scope presented by Scump, a major series for both of these teams, and you can kind of notice the weaknesses on both sides. Obviously, the hard point favoring Dallas. Search and destroy department, that one goes the way of the Guerrillas, and when we get into this control, again, 12-16 record out of the Dallas Empire. But that is not keeping in mind that at one point they were 12-8. They have lost their last 8 controls to now allow for that mode to be a weakness stud. And what we got a hardpoint, search, destroy, and control listed here. What is the blueprint for a roster like LAG in this matchup?
I think it's going to come down to the opening hard point, because I feel like LAG, they're just going to be a lot better or more well-rounded when it comes to the S&D game mode. And even though Dallas Empire in the series that they took versus London, they won both Search and Destroys. And LAG, even though they lost the series versus NYSL, they won the S&D. So I feel like for LAG, if they can come out and win that opening hard point, build that momentum, bring that energy going into that map number 2, I feel like they have a good chance of taking this.
Alrighty, folks. Well, I think we've set the stage quite well, just going through our final server test. But make sure that folks stay with us. It is the Dallas Empire taking on the LA Guerrillas, a series that is set to have it all. When we come back after the break, it is Raid Hardpoint to start this bad boy off.
This is your Scump Team of the Week, a super team built with 4 of the top performers at the most recent event. 3 players were selected by the league and 1 was selected by fan vote. Stick around till the end to find out who made the team. First up, it's Skies, the main AR of the Florida Mutineers. The Mutineers started off their stage 4 with a bang. They had a clean 3-0 win over the London Royal Ravens and a huge 3-2 upset over the Toronto Ultra. The entire team showed up to play, but it was Skies who really stood out on the roster. Skies performed exceptionally well across the respawns and earned the 4th highest overall KD of the week. His best performance came in Florida's match versus the Royal Ravens when he dropped a huge 1.41 KD versus the London squad. Next up, it's Mack of the New York Subliners. The Subliners only had 1 match to play this week, but it was a good one for them. The team had a relatively comfortable 3-1 win over the LA Guerrillas, not a surprise considering the numbers that Mack was putting up. He did so well in this one series that it propelled him to the top of multiple KD rankings of the week. Not only did Mack earn the highest overall KD of the week, he also earned the highest control KD in addition to the highest hardpoint KD. Our third player, Simp of the Atlanta FaZe. Simp's been on so many episodes of Scump Team of the Week that it's more unusual not to see him on the roster. Simp has consistently posted some of the best individual stats from event to event, and the first week of Stage 4 was no different. After Atlanta FaZe's 2 matches this week, Simp logged the 6th highest overall KD of the field, a tough feat for a second SMG on a team with an insane amount of firepower. Simp's usually the one filling in the gaps for his team, but one map where he really went off was FaZe's first map versus the Paris Legion, where he went 34-20 on Garrison Hardpoint. And finally, selected by fan vote, it's aBeZy of the Atlanta FaZe. Along with Simp, aBeZy makes up the other half of Atlanta FaZe's SMG duo. When it comes to the difference between the two, Simp is the one filling in the gaps for Atlanta, and aBeZy is the one punching the gaps in the opposite team. When you're up against a player like this, it's hard enough to tell what route he's going to take to catch your team off guard, and somehow even harder to actually win those 50-50 gunfights. aBeZy's best series came in Atlanta FaZe's match versus OpTic Chicago, where he led the entire lobby in both kills and damage. That's your Scump Team of the Week for Stage 4, Week 1.
Alrighty, folks, being told that we're just moments away from Game 1 starting. I know LAG does have lag in their name. I have no idea if that coordinates in any possible way, but, you know, who knows? I've been asked to possibly give LAG a technical just because of, no, all jokes aside, it is going to be a series that we are very much anticipating. I'm actually watching just toward my side monitor here, and I see players are testing things out, getting things ready. Players just making sure the shots are on fire. I honestly could not speak there for a moment, but so I want to kind of focus a little bit more, I guess you could say, on the Guerrillas side of things as we kind of readily approach this series start. I know the big topic has been on the Guerrillas about the respawns. How can they find that consistency in that department specifically? Because again, it's been a matter of like, hey, this team, they got to be better at the respawns, but how do you see that actually happening on a consistent basis for them?
I think it comes down to the SMG play, and it's just simple because aBeZy, he plays at such a fast pace, and I know that Silly, he was that AR on this team before, so him swapping over to a sub is still fairly new to him. So sometimes the pacing is just off between both of those players, so you can get them on the same page and just really get Silly to start putting a little more pep in his step with that SMG. I feel like they're going to be playing at such a better pace, at least in the respawn, so they have a fighting chance at staying alive throughout the entire game and not allowing it to be a blowout. And it's just great because obviously ever since these guys have made that change for Chino, every single map has been really close. Like, even though they're losing a majority of their respawns, they're still really close. They have the ability to fight with some of the best. It just comes down to those little 1 to 2 pieces that can really close the game out. And I'm looking specifically at those SMG players.
Yeah, I want to say too, kind of on topic with that, I know you are kind of circling the SMGs for this. If we're looking at one player to kind of be the difference maker for both of our rosters coming into this one, who did you highlight in bold today? Like, who are you circling from LAG side? Who are you highlighting? Who are you circling for the Dallas side to possibly be the biggest impact players on this series?
Well, on the LAG side, I was circling aBeZy. And the reason why is because the guy's a 2-time world champ. The guy knows what it takes to win. And we're getting closer towards the end of that year where we see the best out of aBeZy basically every single year, man. For some reason, he struggles in the beginning of the year, but then he gets like to his final form towards the end when around that champs time. So I need aBeZy to have a big series. And then on the opposite side, oh, you probably thought I was going to say Vivid, but no. I'm definitely going to say Shotzzy, man, because Shotzzy, he needs to be that MVP SMG player. Like you said, throughout Stage 4, he's sitting at a .88, which is not something we expect out of this guy. He was the MVP last year for champs for this roster, so he needs to be back into that form where he just can't be touched on the map. Like, he's basically like another aBeZy, but his movement is just insane. You just need to be able to pick up those kills for your team to be able to close out some of these games.
And as we kind of take a look at Dallas's kind of road to the major, seeing what games they obviously have up next as they currently sit at 1-1. They've got LAG, they've got New York and Florida still to face off against. I mean, those two teams, especially kind of toward the end, I mean, that kind of heavily emphasizes how important this game is for the Guerrillas. Because, of course, you do get the W versus Ravens. You lose to Ultra. I mean, with the way that Subliners have looked, with the way that Florida has looked lately, I mean, that could be what kind of sets apart how this group lines out. I know a lot of conversation is who's going to be kind of that third seed. Is it Dallas? Is it going to be somebody else? That very well could kind of shape things up. And I also kind of on topic with that, I know you mentioned Shotzzy, you mentioned aBeZy, but specifically kind of on Shotzzy right now. I mean, what do you think has been the problem so far for him? Because I feel like he's had a good season overall. There's nothing that really kind of sticks out that says, oh, you know, this isn't great. There's been nothing that really kind of stands out and says, oh, he's absolutely excellent. He's in, you know, the same kind of par that he was last year. What do you think has kind of allowed him to maybe not be at that top tier as we saw last season?
Honestly, it's a lot of Dallas Empire players or just organization, the fans, whatever, they're going to be all mad at me because it was ever since they released Hook, man. And that's just something that was really scary. It's just that Shotzzy, he was so comfortable playing with Hook because they played at the same pace. They were both able to pick up those kills, but they released Hook. They go through a couple roster changes and it just doesn't working out for him. So hopefully Shotzzy and Vivid can be on point today with those SMGs to keep the pacing on point, at least with them fighting back and forth, trying to get those trades is exactly what Shotzzy needs to do today.
All right, man. I know, we talk about Shotzzy and stuff. Just interested to kind of see exactly how the kind of the rest of his season intends to play on out. Well, you see, it's all smiles, at least from the Dallas Empire camp. Again, I promise, folks, we are moments away playing the Guerrillas. We'll be back here in just a few moments with that hard point. I promise you, it's on raid and it's coming up soon. All right, folks, we are so glad to have you back because the game is ready. Did you get that? All right, we're just full of surprises today. I've been told that the game is about to start. So make sure to get that popcorn, be ready, get that game fuel, get it ever so close to your body because here we go. It is about to be on some raid. And let's start. Speaking of surprises, and I'm full of questions. I just love to ask you all the questions that I can because you're basically the encyclopedia of Call of Duty. And with that in mind, so like I said, speaking of surprises, how did LAG come through and surprise us on a map like Raid? What needs to be done? I know we've talked about players. We've basically set the stage as well as you can, but getting more specifically into this Raid hardpoint, how do you see LAG come through and win this first one?
It's all going to come down to the money hills, man. Like, if you are not able to gain any time for that P1, you need to respond with the next hardpoint, which is going to be towards Kitchen. You cannot allow for the team that's holding the previous hardpoint to go in and at least break your rotation and at least chain some of that time together. LAG, they do a great job when we talk about Apocalypse hardpoint. For that P2, they basically get a full 60 on it every time. So as long as they can hold their setup properly and just not allow Dallas to break in and give themselves a full 60, I feel like LAG has a good chance.
And with that in mind, we talk about hardpoint. Dallas has not treated them oh so kindly as of late. When we talk about this particular mode for them, they are 1-4 in their last 5, currently on a 4-game losing spree in opening hardpoint. So with that all considered, LAG, we'll see what they can do out of the rip. And so far, it has been just as solid as you'd like to see. Speaking of the fact they also do have P2 spawns in their backside as well. Grabbing those early 20 are going to cause some instant problems for Dallas as they continue to lay down the lead. aBeZy also from the flank lays down some fire as well. Incredible Empire do get some time. It's aBeZy with the full-on 360. A wonderful play to take down Crim, and from there, he will hop inside of the point. Unfortunately, off of that play, spawns do flip for Empire, but we are well into this bad boy.
Yeah, we're not mad. We're not mad if you're LAG because they are able to get a good chunk of time off of this P1 hardpoint. So now it's all about just setting up that push, trying to set up that break towards this backside. And unfortunately, Crimsix, he's going to get the better of aBeZy in that gunfight. Vivid with the trade, so they shut down that push from LAG as they try to commit towards that backside laundries. But LAG, once again, they're going to do it again. They're trying to go around the backside, and this is something that LAG tend to struggle with, is that they don't really have many different showings of how they want to attack these hard points. So once again, they attack the back. Dallas shut it down once again, and Dallas so far are holding this P2 hard point flawlessly.
They are indeed a great kind of pick-me-up if you are the Empire, based on how P1 went, a setup that they desperately needed to hold, considering how the game could have got out of hand, but now full 60 going the way of Dallas. But just as we say that, LAG, they spawn toward the back. Meanwhile, iLLeY spawns toward waterside. So a number of different spawns happening on the other side of the map. And really for Shotzzy, running through the tape, my man. He's the only guy here toward the garage, despite what could have been a rotation for Guerrillas. They spawns toward back jungle, and this very well could be a chain for Dallas. Two kind of awkward situations, but gods are smiling down them at least to start. We'll see how LAG can go for the break.
Yeah, but the pinch is coming in on both sides. They have to try to locate Vivid, and yes, they do. So now you have 3 players from LAG committing towards that gym side. Assault winning a big gunfight, but the pinch is in from aBeZy. And that's such a heads-up play. That's going to spawn all of Dallas Empire out towards the middle of the map. And just like that, LAG were able to break in and not allow Dallas to get a full 60 hold once again. Now you had to start thinking about that rotation. You know that basketball is another full 60 hill. Gunfight still going back and forth in towards this gym side. aBeZy trying to walk with the engagement away from Mr. Crimsix. He's currently sitting on a 3 spree. On the opposite side, you have Assault winning a huge one-on-one on Shotzzy off the rotation.
Now coming in toward a huge hill. In our first set of rotations, we now look toward basketball court. Both these teams looking to try to go for the time. It's a race over toward P4, and iLLeY is doing a great job. That's going to be 3, make it 4 straight at the hands of Dallas, as now we'll go ahead and step aside, take a gander at the comms with our Astro listening on the Empire.
I got one shot, right?
You're going to
I dropped nade for her.
No, 2 there.
Yeah,
3, they're gonna hit money. They're hitting money, I think.
Yeah, money in the
Yeah, I have the back.
I needed it.
Yeah, one, 3.
Yeah, one shot, one.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna cut the first guy. Water steps, 1 shot.
Take your time, break this, guys.
I'm gonna take here.
You're one it. 1 shot going in hill, 1 shot.
Yeah, aBeZy left, aBeZy left,
I
aBeZy
want to know.
hit it.
I want to know.
Watch out,
aBeZy left.
I sure there should be. There's three.
No, left,
more.
left shot now. I need it.
There's no one.
Left side, left side.
Where's
Another guy there.
I'm at rain.
Fucking fry him.
Yo, one guy,
Easy.
one
Water
back,
steps,
one
water
back.
steps. I got him.
Let's go in.
One spawn in the back.
One is hard right now. I'm on him. Water
Yeah, I
steps,
think
Sheen.
they're trying
Done.
Yeah.
We're missing one more. We're missing one. That was two.
I'm on Z.
That could be my Z.
Be
I'm on
driving
him.
I got it.
Yo,
Ring, ring.
behind us. No, behind us. He's still there. Holding.
He can be anywhere.
He pushed up palm.
One behind us.
Yeah, we should help.
Yeah, you
him.
got my
I'll
pillars.
clear
You got
ring.
pillars.
Yep.
Yo, I'm watching
Water
water
steps.
steps. I have water steps.
Okay, what's your Porter?
Pillars,
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 pillars.
Pillars, there's two. He's close
Yeah,
up, close up.
they're all
Got
yo,
one.
out near pillars.
Yeah,
Nice.
another guy.
Nice.
Sit down,
Water.
sit down,
I'm here.
sit down,
Yeah, we saw water.
We pull up.
And
Kitchen
pillar,
done.
you heard the pillar.
Yo, nothing water.
Wait,
I
guys,
kitchen,
players on
pick
there.
up
I
pillar,
did
pick up
kitchen.
pillar.
I don't see
I'm
any
wrapping pillar. I'm
pillars.
wrapping pillar.
I need a player.
I gotta watch my back. Water
I
steps.
pitch,
I'll see you in ring. I'll see you.
Water
One
steps,
ring
then.
late.
Kitchen. One's kitchen.
Wait,
I'm watching
ring
pillars.
late.
Kitchen,
Hey,
dead.
ring late.
I'm looking at it.
Adam.
Two.
Yeah, I'm going for it.
Hey,
One
one
more
was Z. One was Z.
Yo, our side, another guy here.
Yo, I'm about to go around.
Our
I'm going
side
through
heading.
basketball. I'm going through basketball right now.
Yeah, go ahead, go around.
Yeah, I have your. Yo, who's ever in hill? You gotta watch.
I
Yeah,
have
Watch kitchen.
Your
They
kitchen's
could
good.
have
Your
spawned
kitchen's
back on you.
good.
They could have spawned
Your
back on
kitchen?
you. I'm here with
Kitchen
you.
dead. Kitchen dead. They know I'm going around.
Figure shit.
Z,
one's
Z, me, Z,
Z.
one quarter.
Oh,
I
yo,
could help
yeah.
you.
It's good time.
He's right side.
Yeah,
He got
yeah,
it, he got
yeah.
it, he dead.
Yeah, he middle.
Pump it in your
One more
pump.
pillar.
Pillar,
In the back,
pillar,
in the back,
assault.
Marco.
One shot.
Marco's
assault.
laundry.
Alright, go
Yo,
laundry.
yeah, we gotta go around. Go around.
Go around and take your time. Yeah, remember, we
wanna go mid
let's
to you,
go
right?
middle as well. Yep. Flash over.
Did you get
On
push
the
kitchen,
heady,
push
on the
kitchen.
heady.
He's in money, assault. No, he's going back to kitchen,
I'm here.
I might be
I'll
behind him.
drop
Yeah,
this
behind
one.
him.
Take your time, take your
Dead,
time.
dead.
Okay.
I'm weak.
I'm going middle.
Back on
Back on
you.
laundry.
One shot in.
Well, it was a very back and forth first set of rotations. Dallas with the minor lead, and that quickly starts to get cut down. But so far, it has been a show from Shotzzy. We asked him kind of coming into this series, or really kind of talked about, can he reach that MVP form that we saw last year? What is it really going to take? And so far, my friend, the SMGs have come, and they have instantly made this one a show.
Yeah, he's answered the call, man, and that's exactly what we needed for all the Dallas Empire fans out there. It's for Shotzzy to really get his game on point. Not only his movement, but his gun skill. And right now, he's having himself a map. The pressure is on towards his P1 hard point. Dallas Empire in nice and early. They're forcing LAG once again to break in towards that P2. And LAG, the first time around, they decided to be three-man push towards the back laundry. Not once, but twice. This time, LAG, they need to work around that water side. They need to try to take control of that money window, but Dallas Empire, just too much pressure towards the middle of the map, just able to shut down that push and now open up with the first 10 seconds and potentially getting another full 60 here.
I was going to ask you, Stud, like, you know, what has been the difference for Dallas? Really, they played Ultra on a raid in their last match. Of course, that was the 3-0 win for Toronto, and now here on raid, they are looking excellent. But I feel like I know the answer. It's probably going to be something along the lines of Shotzzy. His impact so far. Am I right with that statement? Has it been Shotzzy that's been the difference?
Yes. It's definitely Shotzzy been the difference, and when they played against Toronto, they just didn't have a good job at breaking in towards this P2 hardpoint, and this is a different story now because Dallas Empire are the team early set up for it. So that's going to be 2 full 60s for this P2 hardpoint. LAG were only able about to get like 10 seconds max on the very first rotation towards that end of that junk time, but Dallas Empire is doing such a great job at just holding down these hardpoints the best they can. Crimsix already on a 5 spree. Now it's time to work off that rotation as Chino's going to drop. Number 7 is going to spawn out behind them, which is going to be silly. Crimsix is going to go for the challenge. That's going to put him on a 6 spree. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to pick up streaks, but the pressure is on from Jim's side. aBeZy and Chino holding it down currently for LAG.
aBeZy does get found out. aBeZy, very well known for his lifting skills, does the damage inside of weights. And really, this has to be a hard point where LAG get every single second of it, and aBeZy continues to hold it down. Vivid quickly is there for the reply, greets both of the SMGs from the other side, and has a nice little answer for them. LAG getting the time that they have to over at Garage, but it just seems like Crim. It just feels like this team of Dallas are just hitting the shots that they have to. It's like we said, everybody has come out firing, but Shotzzy currently sitting on +10 as we begin to fade back and focus once more on basketball. It's going to have to be a break. Can LAG make it happen, or could this very well be the final hill? Could it lay the groundwork for the end of this game as Vivid called upon to go big inside of kitchen? He falls. Shotzzy gets found out as well. That is 2 early kills for LAG. But can the players stay up? Assault, he's having himself a game as well. +7 for the moment. Players trying to break in from water side as well, but they continue to be taken down.
Yeah, and this is how LAG broke in towards this last time on the very first rotation, was right through the front They had 3 players flooded out, and aBeZy, he's going to set up that pinch. So now it's all about just trying to get the timing. But unfortunately, Dallas Empire able to find all 4. And with 10 seconds left, they should be able to close it out here.
It looks good to do so. Few more seconds remaining, and iLLeY, consolation kills. The white flag is out for LAG, and Dallas answer commandingly in the opening hardpoint, winning this one by a solid scoreline. And really, as we talked about it, it was the SMGs who made the ultimate impact throughout the map, a number of different major plays, but it is Dallas who answer out of the gates.
Yeah, good answer out of Dallas, because we know that they have been struggling recently, just trying to get their footing correct with this new team, and it's a good way to start. You know, holding down the money hills like the way they did for that P2 hardpoint is the reason why they won this game. They didn't open up the map with time on that P1, but they were able to secure themselves a full 60 on the P2. Then it goes to the second rotation, and they do it once again. And LAG, they just had such a hard time of trying to break in, trying to shut down that setup for the Dallas Empire. But it was just way too strong, man. They look good on that map, number 1, and now they start out the series up 1-0.
Empire get the job done in the game 1, and we'll take a look at our scorecard. I know we talked about it a lot, but Shotzzy 27 and 15 really kind of sticks off the page. You're looking at the LAG side, a few players, Silly, Cheen in specific, just not having the greatest of maps to at least start this one off. But like we said, Dallas needed to come out, win the opening hardpoint. They were able to do that. And now with this search and destroy, that now instantly becomes a primary one here for LAG. The plot continues to thicken. As we said, Vivid facing off against his old team has got to feel good after that opening victory. But how can he play coming into the search and destroy? Can it be a level 1 once Miami comes to a close, or can Dallas find themselves up 2-0? You'll have to find out when we come back after the break.
The Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Presented by USAA Insurance, easy insurance for stuff in real life.
Well, Dallas, they answered commandingly in the starting hardpoint, getting the job done on raid, but the conversation stud now needs to be directed toward the search and destroy. This has been a good mode all season long for the LA Guerrillas, which is why it kind of emphasizes even more for Dallas. As we've talked about, they have gone through a number of different roster changes, and you kind of see how the impacts have been able to develop with the different players that they've had in the starting lineup.
Yeah, so for Røkkr, obviously, they played with Røkkr for 3 stages, and they're currently sitting at 10th in S&D. It wasn't really that good. And then Felony, they go through all of stage 3, just playing with him. The S&D just wasn't that good. And Vivid, he has 3 matches with them so far. They've won 2 search and destroys, they've lost 1 to Toronto, and now they find themselves in the 4th ever search and destroy that he's on this team. So KD's gonna look a little better, but the main priority is on a map like Miami, we know how LAG play. They take their sweet time on their offensive pushes. So Vivid, like I said, he's going to have the playbook in the back of his head. Hopefully he's able to show it to his new teammates now.
Absolutely. And on topic with that, it's our Astro Social soundboard. This one coming through from Tyler. Said Vivid, trying to show LAG what they were wrong in dropping him. Hashtag CDL 2021. Folks, make sure to utilize that hashtag. You got the opportunity to pop up in our Astro Social soundboard, but that kind of is the story of this series, man. It is Vivid versus his old team, and I know you kind of talked about it, Standy. Like, they're search and destroys. We know what they're going to do. They're a very well-constructed team at times, and they kind of rely more on that methodical play style. They said, hey, you know what? Vivid doesn't necessarily fit as well into that play style. We know he's basically the fastest player in the entire CDL in terms of score per minute, kills per minute, all of those stats. He can be a speed demon. And I want to ask you, I know you kind of talked about it a little bit. You know what that LAG like to do on Miami. I mean, what do you think that Vivid does here? I mean, how much of an impact do you think he could have on a map like Miami, specifically versus his old team? We talked about strategy. He very well may know a lot of the things that LAG like to do on this map.
Yeah, he definitely is gonna know. Like I said, he has the playbook basically stapled to the back of his head, so he knows exactly what they're gonna bring towards every play. So I'm expecting Vivid to do what he did for LAG on a map like Miami, and that's be that island player. Because if he's that island player, the information that he's able to gain for his teammates is gonna show what play that LAG are trying to execute, because Vivid has that past knowledge of being that previous fourth for that team. So it's all going to come down to what kind of information Vivid can get and the aggression that he's going to put on. So him taking control of top purple is all the information that his team needs. That it's going to be another slow push out of LAG. This time, it's looking like the bomb is going to be a little bit more committed towards B. But just keep in mind Chino on that beach side being that island player.
I was going to say, we saw at the start, Dallas by no means obeying the street signs, saying to walk. LAG, no, they're kind of walking. They're not really moving too far. Eden having a nice little brisk pace towards Sand, as he will lay down a little bit of fire toward Vivid. And that could be some very interesting timing. He turns around and aBeZy is right there, but aBeZy, he turns as well. Both players getting some unfortunate COD timing, but can it work out in their favor? The next challenge, aBeZy is able to win it. Keeping in mind, 25 seconds on the clock, and LAG are now finally inside a garage. And they waited too long. aBeZy, he's able to back out after finding a kill. Meanwhile, Crimsix falls. The trade is in, and now it is all on to Shotzzy. Silly puts down the bomb, but Shotzzy in a nice angle cannot take down Silly. He puts in so much damage, but now he gets his second opportunity. Can he try and stay alive? He makes his way inside a piano and puts down the work onto aBeZy. What a dramatic round. Shotzzy, who probably had no right to stay alive for as long as he did. LAG come away with it, but Standy, I have no idea how it got that close.
Yeah, that one was kind of nerve-wracking. I was sitting there just grinning the entire time. Is he actually going to do this? But no, aBeZy's able to walk away with the one-on-one engagement. It all came down to the timing. As soon as Silly got that bomb plan off, Shotzzy jumped over that wall. So Silly couldn't gain that sound cue that he was in that position. Unfortunately, Shotzzy doesn't close out the kill on the first time, but he's able to get the second. So just changes up his positioning right there. LAG still able to close it out with aBeZy picking up 3 on the round. But now we're on board here with Dallas on their offensive push. Saw Vivid, he ended up getting first blood that last round. It's not what we expect, but Crimsix changes the story this time around, and he's able to open up the first blood onto Chino. Now Dallas in a 4v3.
Great early work out of the ARs, which is of course to be expected. Salt left to pick up right where his team left off, and Silly pulls out the Krig. At one time it was his gun in every single mode. Obviously now with the SMG majority of the time in the hard points. Is Dallas still with that first blood off of that position? aBeZy very well may find himself on the flank, and he will get rewarded for his endeavors. It does get traded out from Vivid, so a quick 3 versus 2, rather unfortunate, as you said, gets the kill, but we can take a breather at the respawn screen, as it now will be the rotation over toward B. Silly with the information, but no one to give that information to, as that B bomb site is free.
Yeah, and the B bomb is going to be planted, but just pay attention to the middle of the map. You still have iLLeY that knows that both players from LAG are across towards that A site. He's able to spot one in Silly, not able to close out that kill, but time is starting to tick. Eventually, Dallas are going to be able to work this bomb plant. Shotzzy needs to try to stay alive, because now they know that Vivid is going to be on bomb, and both players on this site drop. So now it's a 1v2 situation for iLLeY. He's able to spot one, but here comes the player from the steps, and just like that, when I thought Dallas Empire played that beautifully, they choke it. LAG in a 2v3 retake are able to win every single engagement. Great plays out of Assault and Silly to just take their time. They used what the play that Dallas Empire gave to them. They knew that Vivid was on that bomb. They needed to spot Shotzzy. They take him down, use the double challenge to come in on Vivid, and eventually execute the 2v1 onto iLLeY. Great retake right there out of LAG.
And oftentimes, right, we're talking about, you know, clutches. Of course, this one a 2 versus 3. I think oftentimes it does come down to that first player, and I think in that situation, Shotzzy, I don't know if it was just movement that was a little bit of a problem, if he thought he could stay alive, but kind of gets tripped up, and really in that position, Vivid, he's on the bomb, right? He's kind of hanging out on the bomb, so that quickly allows for it to be a 2 versus 1 fight, another 2 versus 1 fight, and then a final 2 versus 1 fight. LAG, despite not having overall numbers, are able to utilize what they have to the best of their ability. And speaking of numbers, a quick 2-0 to start off this Miami. It's 2-1 for Silly, 4-1 for Father App. Finds one kill in that last run, had a hat trick in round 1. Nice kills there for iLLeY through the van window. No problems whatsoever. He'll just add it to his tab. And I don't think those vans have been used in quite some time. And spotting really the very barrel of the gun, Vivid takes down App, and really another slow push for LAG. This time not looking nearly as good. One player left from the top rope. Vivid says, thank you very much. Dallas, get on the board.
And that's what's so, like, weird about LAG is that we saw them on the very first offensive push. They executed that B-bomb push when there was no trophies on the map. So obviously Dallas Empire, they go into their second defensive hold. Trophies had a completely different story now. And right there you call LAG just trying to take their time. And unfortunately, every time they threw a tactical, they could not get the information that they were looking for. And Dallas just picked them apart in that round. So good round right there out of Dallas on the defensive hold. Just catching the players of LAG off guard. So now, Dallas are going into another offensive push. We saw Crimsix open up with the first blood onto Mr. Chino last time on that A point. How aggressive do Dallas decide to get here? If I'm Vivid, I'm calling the shots. This is their setup the entire time. We can bully him out B because Silly, he's going to basically be sitting towards that back dumpster every single time. But as I say that, he switches out of sub and he's going to go into purple. So, right now, LAG have control of purple. How did Dallas Empire decide to approach this?
Nice crossfire. Set up as Gene. Able to take down Vivid. I was going to say, to start off that round, you notice Vivid was just kind of checking over toward visitors.
All the way from both, too.
And checking over toward A. The nice long-range shots. Don't allow for that visuals to get... Don't allow for those visuals to get any more prominent. As we'll say goodbye to Shotzzy and goodnight to Crim. It all comes down to iLLeY. A 1 versus 3 now. And I'm not so sure it's going to get any easier. Takes down aBeZy. LAG do lose 2 members in the process, but it is a worthy transaction in the end, as they will find their third. A little bit, you know, a little bit crazy toward the end. You can argue at times, just being a little bit too passive, but that opening crossfire definitely kind of set the tone for the round stud.
Yeah, it definitely did, man. Chino hit some great shots all the way from the beach side to a guy that was sitting on top of a bus. So it's not an easy shot to get done because you usually expect the player from Dallas who was to just drop down and, you know, play his life. But Chino with some great shots all the way across the map, able to open up that first blood and now puts his team up 3-1. Going into another offensive push for LAG. So this time it's looking like the bomb is going to commit towards this A point. At least trying to get through the middle of the map. And this might cause problems for Dallas, but Crimsix, the vet, able to read that play, open up with the first blood on a Silly. Obviously, they don't have the information that the bomb is down, but it's going to force LAG to have a couple players get out of position to try to get this round in.
How's your day, stud? You know, just another slow round. All good. Okay, here's the action. Grim.
The day's pretty good so far.
I was going to ask. Okay, I'm glad to hear it. You know, it was a quick little 3-0 to start off the day. I was hoping for a better series, and it looks as if we very well... They've got what we asked for. Gene now sitting on the 3 spree. And a crossfire with the SMGs this time around, as it will be Money Gene left. And a 1 versus 3, very similar situation to what we saw iLLeY last round. Always love me some Money Gene. Nearly turns on to Shotzzy, but tell you what, man, just kind of these slower paced efforts, and at times Dallas, they're just able to capitalize. And I feel like in these situations where at times it is slower for Guerrillas, you lose that, you know, first player who maybe is hunting for information, and then from there it just seems as if they don't really know how to coordinate things. Another round for Dallas in the books. We'll see what LAG can now do on the reply. A swing round potentially in our midst if Guerrillas can find their fourth stud.
Yeah. With Dallas Empire going into another offensive push, they cannot allow Chino to get towards that boat side. So you see number 6, he's going to be watching that cut. Make sure no players are going to try to challenge Chino, but they're trying to get aggressive towards this boat. They're able to spot him as well. And with Chino having to play this position, it's going to allow Shotzzy to be aggressive on it. They're able to spot him, and eliminating Chino out of that position is so huge because now all of middle map is open and the crossfire will be set. Crimsix, Vivid, trying to creep with the middle map. He's going to get spotted by Assault, but Crimsix was able to take down one. So now in a 3v2 situation for the Empire, they cannot choke this one this time around once again. aBeZy and Assault are going to be alive. They're fighting from the middle of the map. No player does have any eyes on towards this A bomb. So the bomb is going to be in for Dallas. He's able to spot aBeZy as he crosses, so he gives up that bomb plant. The double challenge is going to come in. aBeZy actually wins that engagement on the Crimsix, so now it's a 2v1 situation, making it a 1v1. Assault versus Shotzzy.
38 seconds left. Shotzzy, Assault, both with somewhat of a bit of information. Time starts to tick away. Head is spotted. Trigger discipline. Shotzzy rather takes the shot that he needs to. Maybe a little bit slower than we would have expected, but gets the job done regardless. I gotta say, man, when iLLeY hopped off the plant, I thought that it may have kind of spoiled the round there for the Empire, but we're able to lock things up. A lot of that kind of comes down to the early game there of Dallas. Shotzzy puts it away, now sitting on the 4 spree, as now we're all tied up at 3-3. LAG, another opportunity here on the attack. We'll see what it looks like for them. And despite aBeZy's presence, possibly toward B, it appears the bomb at least making its way toward A, maybe even just to sit somewhat stagnant in the middle side of the map. It will be on the back of Silly. But will it stay there as Shotzzy puts in the work early? Again, on that 4 spree, 5-3 so far in this game. And it could be another situation where LAG take their time. But can it work out this time around?
Yeah, they're just taking their time, and this time Dallas Empire, they're allowing Vivid to be that island player. He's going to be the only player in this position holding down towards purple, but does he have any information where aBeZy can possibly be? Time is starting to tick, so LAG need to start stepping up the pace on this round to work towards his bomb plant. iLLeY, some great shoulders, able to spot at least one player close. He's going to get the nade to try to get out with his life, and that's great work, but here comes Shotzzy on the flank. He continuously has been stopped shooting at people so far. That's the 3rd round right there. He's done it. At least he's able to close out that kill there. And now he's on a 5 spree, working towards some streaks. Able to spot Silly as well. And he's trying to put some shots down into Chino. But iLLeY, unfortunately, he's going to get aggressive there. So now it's a 2v2 situation. Vivid with some great shots. Shotzzy staying alive was the biggest play there. His streak stays alive, but Dallas Empire, that's 3 rounds in a row. These guys have been able to train, and it's just been great work just forcing LAG to make a play in the final seconds, and then eventually Dallas just setting up a flank or setting up some kind of play to shut it down. Right there with Shotzzy on the flank, puts him on a 6 spree, 1 kill off, or working towards some streaks.
I feel like we have we seen a streak like on Miami Search and Destroy? I don't know why my mind.
I don't think so, but it's got to be lethal, especially to get it down towards that A bomb.
With how open it is, like you said, like the A bomb site in particular, like it can really cause some problems. I don't know if we have seen streaks on Miami Search and Destroy, but hey, now it could possibly be the first time. Like I said, Shotzzy causing issues, continuing to exploit what very well seems to be more of a methodical approach, aka a slower approach to the attacks out of Guerrillas. iLLeY so far sitting at 2-5. Meanwhile, Cheen, who kind of is the S&D X factor for this roster, sitting somewhat nicer in the KD department.
Ooh.
Things out slowly.
Assault wasn't able to spot Shotzzy.
He made it through. Shotzzy makes it through toward Visitor Center. Finds his way through the employee exit and says goodnight to Cheen. Hello, thank you to the streaks.
Now the streak is in. Unfortunately, he's going to get traded by Assault. So now it makes it a 3v3. aBeZy with the great kill onto Vivid. But now it's a 2v2 as that gets traded. iLLeY's going to get this bomb down. But does he have the information? He does. That Assault is going to be in towards his top window. Crimsix is watching in the middle of the map. He's able to spot the 2nd player. So they have the information of Assault. It's only a matter of time before iLLeY's able to walk away with this kill. Those bursts look a little slow right there. iLLeY, we need to have that trigger a little bit better. But Crimsix with some great shots to close out that round. Dallas Empire now are 1 round away from closing out this map number 2. Just keep in mind that Shotzzy was able to earn that artillery. So now they get to play a little bit more different for the Dallas Empire side. You want to make sure that you take control of purple. You want to make sure that you're keeping control of that A-bomb, at least in that top window room. So then it forces LAG to be aggressive and to try to get that streak usage out of Dallas Empire. But they're going to commit towards B, as they do have that information that the artillery is on the side of Shotzzy. But this time Shotzzy and his teammate Vivid are going to be aggressive in towards purple, not trying to give LAG any openings.
This first blood could be everything, considering the streak for Guerrillas. We'll start to form up toward back garage. iLLeY once more destroying the window of the van. Will come at somewhat of a cost. Result on the other side. Lays down some fire once more. Could be a flank inbound, but Shotzzy at least going to go ahead and set the streak aside. At least gets the information, so he will have an awareness of where these players sit, and also going to have the awareness of aBeZy, but aBeZy's there. Shuts down Vivid, is not aware of Shotzzy's positioning, so it will be a 1-for-1 trade, and now here comes the streak. 25 seconds left, and Guerrillas will have to start to squander themselves. Somewhat of a separation now, as Silly, who did have the bomb, falls at the hands once more of the Shotman. 10-4, make it 11-4. Final player spotted, and you can give him that one too. Dallas take the S&D off of another highlight play from Shotzzy.
And I'm pretty sure that was the ace on the round, man. Shotzzy and Vivid played that beautifully. Like I said, they needed to take that purple control, because once they did that, it was really difficult for LAG to just try to work around the map. Like aBeZy, he goes and he's able to find that first blood onto Vivid, but then it's traded by Shotzzy. And then Shotzzy knows that the time is starting to tick. There's only 30 seconds left, so eventually they have to work that bomb plant. He keeps that artillery in the back pocket. He's able to just spam it all around that B bomb, which forces the players from LAG to try to push towards the back spawn, try to jump over the wall, or even try to get into purple. And that's exactly what he did. He soloed out Silly, forces into a 1v1, then jumps out towards the balcony, able to find the last 2, get the ace on the round. So far, Shotzzy is having one of those MVP performances with that SMG in his hand.
And it's great to see, man. Obviously ends the game out on 7 in a row, 12-4. Except just had a phenomenal start to the hard point, as he has been the answer again in the search and destroy. You know what? Kind of somewhat even numbers from the rest of the team, but Shotzzy putting on that MVP form that we have been, I guess you could say, kind of waiting for, you know, from time to time. Again, we were very excited to see Shotzzy come through the way that he did for Dallas and last season, and so far throughout this year. Like I said, we've talked about roster changes, how that could kind of affect things, but in this series, he has been putting on for his good old buddy Vivid. As now we'll go and take a look back at that round 11 for our U.S. Army tactical play. Again, stud, it is the clever plays, rather not in this round 11, it's in the closing round of this game. What, man, Shotzzy laying down the groundwork, getting the job done, and playing the streaks perfectly.
It was beautiful, man. Like I said, he opens up with that kill, that traded kill onto aBeZy. And he calls in the streak, forces Silly to be aggressive in towards top purple. He almost hit the team nade there onto his teammate, but the heads-up play that he knows the bomb eventually has to get planted for LAG. He takes his time to go around the garage side, able to find the first and then snap onto the second. It's just something, man. It's something that Shotzzy's on today. It's got to be the haircut, bro, because when you look good, you play good, and right now, he's on point.
He is, man. He is looking good, feeling good, and playing good. A solid start for Shotzzy and the Dallas Empire. A very happy team, as now they find themselves up 2-0, but the icing on the cake, potentially. Can they lock up this control and end the 8-game losing spree? Is it this series, or will that be the key to LAG bringing this one back? Make sure to stay with us. This is, once again, Garrison Control, up after this.
Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armor your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to day one of the Florida home series. Dallas currently finding themselves up 2-0. It is Vivid facing off against his old team, and they are happy coming into this control, but maybe not as happy as they should be, Study, because we talked about this control previously, and I guess you could say recently. It has not been so solid for the Empire. I know you've been all over this. You were all over this at the start of the show. Oh man, it is not looking good in this 8-game losing streak.
It's definitely not, man. This is ever since they released Hook from this team has not won a single control. They went through Felony, they went through Vivid, and they still find themselves sitting at 0-8. The only thing that really just sticks out to the page for me is the defensive rounds. Like, the fact that they are dead last in defensive rounds, they are better at their attacking than they are in their defensive stands. Like, that's terrible, man. They need to be able to just hold down their setups properly, especially on a map like Garrison, where neither team is really good at it. You have Dallas on one side, who is sitting at 2-6, and the opposite, LAG, who are 1-6. So Dallas Empire, if they can come out and win this, it'll be good, because they'll be able to close out in the 3-0. But if they lose it, it's still the same story. Ever since they dropped Hook, this has been their worst game mode. But the way that Shotzzy is playing right now, it's going to be really hard to stop that young man. aBeZy needs to be on point for them to not get 3-0'd in this situation.
I gotta say too, like on topic with the lack of defensive round victories that they've had throughout this 8-game stretch, at least like this could almost kind of be a curveball, or rather a nice little soft pitch for the Dallas side. Just kind of granted, because LAG are ranked 12th in the CDL in attacking round. So like I said, maybe this could be like a nice little opportunity for them to kind of change up that control, to get something done differently whenever you have a team who has struggled mightily, like we said, in these attacks. But I did ask the stats team, like, what is Shotzzy's KD right now? Like, how is he performing so far? 2.05, 39 and 19 to start off this series. And again, when we talk about this control, man, the woes that have caused so many problems so far, I want to say Shotzzy kind of in this losing streak recently has been one of the lower KDs in the control department. Now on a Garrison, with how hot that he has looked, again, man, I think that he has the potential to be the ultimate difference maker. If he comes out hot, I think it looks pretty dire for LAG here.
Yeah, it definitely does, man. He's shooting as straight as his hairline, so he's on point right now. He's feeling good. He goes into that map number 1, at least get a double positive there, picks up some streaks on that map number 2. And now, like I said, man, his team has been struggling with this game mode, but his performance so far today has been MVP-like. It's been something that you can compare to his performances out of last year, and so far he's on point. So, like I said, this map isn't strong for either team, but we know how Garrison is played. As long as you're able to keep that top screen control and just have your SMGs just be menaces on the map, going through that snake, going through bottom middle, just being such a rat on this map is going to be so huge, especially for Dallas Empire, who are going to be starting on their defensive side.
You got me studying with the shooting as straight as his hairline. That was good. I like that, man. How I guess this is kind of code. How straight does Nameless shoot?
I'll let chat decide that one. They all know the stories. It's a bumpy road, the Rocky Mountains out there for Mr. Nameless. I love him though. It's my guy.
Oh my gosh, we love you, Nameless. All jokes aside, again, but we've been giving Ant so many problems to start. But how about that? A nice 3-0 start for Dallas, as that will be good work to get done early. But off the side attack, Shotzzy realizing that aBeZy very well may have snuck his way through, but thank you very much.
Gotcha.
Nice one to start.
Yep, so now Dallas Empire, they have full control of the map. They're just forcing all of LAG to try to pick up some kills out of their spawn. They're all trying to push out towards this bottom floating area, but kills are just going still in favor of Dallas Empire. They're keeping the map control. Vivid pushing out towards bottom mid, has a big one-on-one versus Silly, able to walk away with that one. Get away with his life, and Crimsix is there with the trade, so now it's all about just trying to chain a couple kills together, but they still are keeping LAG off this point. So the time is starting to go down. 28 seconds left. Chino's going to be the first one to get on it, but Dallas, they just keep on flooding players one by one to eliminate these players from this positioning. But LAG, they were able to eliminate that player out of top green, now trying to get over towards that A point.
And aBeZy looking to lead the charge right now for the team, nearly one tick through. As right now, Dallas trying to answer back. Vivid quickly on the reply. Same thing with Crim. A current 1 versus 2 over toward this A point, but it's Dallas winning out, and it's Crim putting away the Krig and lighting it up with a 74U. 10 seconds remain. And really, what can the Guerrillas try and make happen? And so far, the push has been halted. A nice kill comes in for Vivid, and that will be the story of this opening control. LAG with some progress at times, but ultimately the door closed right in their face.
Yeah, and that's pretty good out of Dallas. They were dead last in defensive rounds, and they walk away with that one pretty easily. So that's a good way to start if you're Dallas Empire. You're currently on an 0-8 spree, and it's just not been good in this game mode. And Crimsix, he's having himself a map so far. Currently on a 3 spree, sitting at 6-2. Really just holding down those power positions, holding down that top floating, holding down that top green for his team to allow his SMGs to be able to push up. But now they find themselves on offense. They're a little better in their attacking than they are on their defense. So let's see what they're able to bring here as aBeZy opens it up with the first blood.
He drops the first, and really off of that, Crim there for the reply. Now sitting on 4 in a row is C6. Needs to get the gamer tag changed, by the way. Regardless, iLLeY now making some progress, making his way toward front lights, and really with that, farthest pushed up player just trying to do anything he can right now just to cause some problems inside of that kill feed, but he eventually gets dealt with, and now could be the opportunity for Guerrillas. Again, on a map like Garrison, sometimes time can get away from you if you are on the attacking end. One good and a solid push from the defense can kind of cause map control problems with the remainder, but aBeZy, position known. Shotzzy, he handles it. Meanwhile, it's Sheen, farthest pushed up player. He gets dropped as well. And with that, 2 players now on to the B point for Dallas. 1 tick in, and clock stopped at 36 seconds. How can LAG look to make the retake? You got a few players initialized through green. Sheen tosses out the nade, and this very well is going to come down to possibly aBeZy. The nice trades as Sheen is able to win it out. And with that, just moments away, inches away from capturing that B point. iLLeY left between a rock and a hard place. Has to refocus on where the fire was coming from, but as he falls, this could be the Guerrillas in another great situation. The final push now set up here for Empire.
Yeah, so this is going to be the last push right here from the Empire. aBeZy opens up with the kill onto Vivid, so it's all onto Shotzzy to try to cause some problems in the middle of the map. Tino is able to spot him. Crimsix is able to find one in towards top green. And if he can find this second kill, it can possibly open up that A point, but he's going to commit towards B, find aBeZy. He's trying to get onto it, but he's not able to get there in time. But I'd like to see if right there, when Crimsix is able to get that 2-piece, just to jump up towards green to try to stop that clock on that A point. So it's going to be really difficult for them to try to get across the map, but tried his best. Unfortunately, time does not go in his favor as he does find 3 kills on the end of the round. And LAG, they just do such a great hold, such a great job of just keeping control of top green between Silly and Assault, just causing so many problems for Dallas when they were trying to get out of their spawn. But now Dallas find themselves in another defensive round. Crimsix on a 3 spree, working towards some streaks. Can they come out and do the same exact thing that they did in the very first defensive hold?
Yeah, we'll see that with the opening setups. You got 2 players sitting instead of green, and that will at least help your chances somewhat as Assault, the accidental teammate on the Sheen. aBeZy will do all he can to try and make up for the mishap, but it will not work out in their hands. As you'd like to imagine, the teammate to start. We talk so often, and especially on a map like Garrison, how important these initial team fights are for the attacking team. You have a teammate come through like that, and instantly a lot of the momentum is ended as Dallas now have them set up quite well, and not necessarily a spawn trap, but really just an angle fest. Great jobs for the Empire to pick up off the mistake.
You just got to keep in mind that in that very first offensive push right there for Dallas, they were at least able to get 2 ticks on towards that B point. So if it does go to around 5, Dallas will have defense. And so far on their defensive hold, they are just keeping map control, applying so much pressure on the map, but LAG able to finally answer the call, eliminating 3 players. Now it's all about just trying to take Crimsix out of this top green area. He's able to find one, able to find the second as well. allows his teammates to come off spawn and fight through lights as iLLeY picks up another, but just constant pressure from Dallas in the spawns of LAG. They just can't get out, man. There's just too much going on right now for LAG to get out of their spawn.
Yeah, time trying to tick away. Cheen, can he get there? Can he slide in? And he will, contesting it. 0.0 seconds on the clock, but unfortunately for Cheen, he was the only player in a place to try and contest. Defense to start, defense to close. Crim and iLLeY putting up some of the best plays throughout that round 3. But as we said, defense wins out once more, and Dallas now possibly 1 round away from locking up this series and ending out the 8-game control losing streak. And they do it here, Stud.
I think they can, man. The way that they have been holding down their defensive holds, it's been great to see. Like I said, if it does get to push to around number 5, if LAG are able to come out and win this, they were not able to get any ticks on neither one of their offensive pushes. So Dallas Empire, with the 2 ticks of progression that they got towards that B point, would basically guarantee them defense if it does go to that round number 5. But you see what Vivid's trying to do, trying to attack towards top green. Silly's able to get that trade, so now it's all about LAG just applying the pressure. iLLeY's able to find one. Silly does get traded. So that initial start for LAG, they thought that they had map control. Dallas Empire played slow. They take their time, and they're able to come out on top in those engagements.
And somewhat of a different look, right? Green was opened up for a moment. Crim tries to make his way through there and pop on over to A. Meanwhile, it does make LAG have to focus their attention toward one side of the map. Meanwhile, it is Dallas now gaining some time over at B, as that is quickly 2 ticks already in, and the third one is going to be locked in as well. So Dallas off the start, one of the most convincing attack rounds that we have seen yet. 30 seconds in, and they have got themselves an extra minute on the clock. Capture B and now have some time to work on how to lock up this round. As you said, they've done enough in that round 5 to at least give them favorable position, but can we even get there? Can LAG even do enough to force the issue? As back and forth we go. Ring around the rosy. Constant checks for both Shotzzy and Silly. Silly backs up and allows for Assault to do the work from long range.
Yeah, and right there, Shotzzy was just trying to stall time for his teammates to get to him because they knew that the pinch was going to come in, but Assault and Silly win 2 huge engagements on towards that point to shut down that push from Dallas. So now it allows LAG to hold once again as time is starting to click. We have a minute 15 on the clock. Dallas trying to work through the middle map. iLLeY with some great shots, able to find 2. They spot the third, so you're going to have 2 players that are going to spawn to your left. iLLeY, unfortunately, he's going to lose that engagement to Chino. Big 2-piece out of Chino. Once again, to shut down that push. Now it's all on Shotzzy. He's going to be the only player on this point, and he gets eliminated. LAG now can push up and gain more map control.
Big moment for the Guerrillas. Can they hold? Possibly 1 to 2 more pushes left in the tank for Dallas, depending on how aggressive they want to play this. Shotzzy spotted, but aBeZy not able to take him down, but wins arguably the more influential fight of the 2. Does get traded, but that's right where Silly is going to be able to drop him. So once more, Dallas, they were up in lives. They captured that B point early on in this game, but it has been a great defensive hold so far throughout this last minute 45. But LAG 10 seconds away from the round 5. A quick little trade to start this one off. Vivid from the front. Meanwhile, it's Shotzzy once more through the back. A great series, but can he cap it off with the play of the game? He and Vivid working so well together. That's going to be 3 down. Make it 4 down for a moment from LAG. Cheen from range. It's Crimsix as well, replying exactly what he needs to. And LAG get to the point in time. Currently, a stack in play for Dallas. 3 seconds on the clock. Keeping in mind it's currently delayed. iLLeY puts in the work with the Diamante, and that very well may have done it. aBeZy's on the point. He finds 2, but it's Shotzzy there for the trade, and it will be a victory in the books for Dallas Empire as they come through and answer back versus LAG. Complete the 3-0 and end the 8-game control losing streak in such a solid and phenomenal way.
Man, it all came down to just that last push. Dallas only had 1 push to try to execute this play. They soloed out Chino as he was camping towards the back of that light, sitting on that tank area. He got 1, but then he got naded. So now the entire middle map is open, and Shotzzy, he finds that opening. He knows that 2 players from LAG are going to be sitting in towards bricks, and one player is going to be on the point. So he hits the full flank right up the middle of the map, able to come behind one player in bricks. His teammates able to get the trade, and then at that point, everyone's just flooding the point. There's only one guy left on this. We put the stack in. We should be able to close it out. And in those final moments, man, if Chino does not drop there, or if somebody is there to help him on the trade, because he got one and then he got naded out. If someone was there to fill that gap right there, they do not allow Shotzzy to have that opening, and they have the potential to force it to a round number 5. But Shotzzy, he finds it, he executes the play well, and eventually closes out the game for his team in a 3-0 fashion. Dallas, they look good, man. They look good.
Yeah, and you got to feel pretty good if you're a Dallas Empire fan, considering that, again, many people coming into this series, I think you yourself and myself included, had this one going down to it, probably a game 4, game 5 most likely, just with the way that LAG can be so crafty. We talk about how much of a statement game this could be for Vivid. He obviously plays well kind of toward the stretch. He and Shotzzy with that ending play are able to close it out. It was Shotzzy to start, and really iLLeY picks up from where he left off, 24 and 15 out of Ender. And I guess you could say, Stud, kind of a, I guess, Dallas looking better than we expected. Granted, it was versus the Guerrillas, and so you have to kind of take that into consideration with this team. At times can be lethal in the search and destroys. Respawn has kind of been a question, but I think for the most part, we leave this series with some more hope in the Empire camp. And I'm pretty sure that Vivid had to have his best series so far for the team.
Oh, 100%, man. Like, the guy was basically a 0.4 in the first series, 0.6 in the second. So right there, he's sitting around a 0.8, 0.9. So that's a little better, but the big MVP player was definitely Shotzzy, man. He came out, like I said, hairline fresh, gunfight fresh. The guy was just on point, man. He was feeling good. He started off that hard point really well, took over in that search and destroy, and in those final moments right there, he makes the play for his team to close out that map. Gotta tip the hat to Dallas, man, because it's been struggling ever since that releasing of Hook, but getting a win like this now puts them in stage 4 at 2-1. So you have a good chance of trying to make it out now.
Definitely, my friend. Definitely a big game. When we talk about the groups, a big game for this team's confidence as well. And you kind of referenced it, right? Kind of that final play toward the stretch. Well, we get to revisit it, as that will be our scuff play of the game. It is Shotzzy and Vivid, the coordination of the SMGs here late. We talked about it, a number of different times, Stud. If this team, if this kind of group together, if these SMGs can line it up the way that we know we can, or rather that they know they can, this could be an SMG line to look out for. They make the play toward the stretch, and that solidifies the series.
Yeah, I told you. It was all on Chino. He was able to find one player in the back, but then he got naded out. So then they found that opening for Shotzzy, and no hesitation, the guy hit it. He comes up behind one player in towards bricks. He sets up his teammate as he was coming through the map to get that trade, and eventually everyone collapses onto the last guy on that point. A 4-stack comes in. Really difficult for LAG to try to break in, as you saw aBeZy. He tries to go God mode right there with a 2-piece, but Dallas Empire just had way too many players on that point. 4-stack, we know how fast that is going when it comes to the progression, and they just get the job done, man. Well executed out of Dallas.
Yeah, you see smiles on the face of the Empire players, kind of a sweat off the brow type of situation coming into this series. They get the job done. Now let's take a look at the remainder of their road toward the stage 4 major. Again, they've got 3 games done, 2 more still to go, and that very well could be 2 of the more difficult matches that they will have. When we talk about this stage, of course, they did lose to Ultra earlier on, and New York versus Mutineers, those are going to be 2 very, very difficult opponents, considering especially how great that Florida have looked as of lately, Stud. But I'm sure social media is reacting in a very prominent way. We see our Astro Social soundboard here, a number of tweets coming out saying, you know, Shotzzy is about to turn up when he gets that buzz cut. Shotzzy with a low cut, unstoppable. Shotzzy got a fade and started moving differently, and then nice to see Shotzzy play like an MVP again. As you said, Stud, look good, play good.
I told you, man. It's all about that hairline. Look at him. You could just tell. The guy's smiling from cheek to cheek, feeling good. Hairline's looking crisp. Look good, play good, like you said, man. And the guy definitely came out to play today for his team.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, Shotzzy, like I said, is feeling good, playing good, and overall, the gameplay was immaculate today. When we come back after the break, it is Lottie, joined alongside by Shotzzy for our post-game interview.
Call of Duty League is brought to you by GameFuel. Unlock a CDL team pack with any purchase on gamefuel.com/CDL while supplies last. Offer ends on August 31st. Tournament audio and team listen-ins are powered by Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the Call of Duty League.
Hello everybody and welcome to your Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. Joining me I have the absolute on fire player Shotzzy from the Dallas Empire. Shotzzy, I've got to say man, nice win for you guys, a really hot 3-0 in a series that I think a lot of people might have taken it to game 5 against LAG with you guys, and you've had a couple of up and down games and things may not have been so 3-0 hot for you guys as of recent, but something was working today. Any kind of insight onto what that was from your perspective?
Yeah, we played really good today, and it was just mainly our comms, honestly. Like, we understood each other on that first map, and then we kind of just took that momentum and steamrolled the last 2 and 3rd map.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous, to be honest. You yourself played top dollar, absolutely incredible. Vivid, obviously coming on board to the team, a new addition. He was playing against his old roster. So, I mean, what was that like? Was that a little bit more of like an edge, a little chip on the shoulder when you guys were playing LAG out there today?
Yeah, no, definitely. He kind of understood their little, like, the way they like maneuvering around the map, and he kind of helped us just because, like, some situational. He was like, oh, app likes pinching here and stuff like that. So it definitely helped us in the S&Ds, and yeah, it was pretty funny that he played against his old team.
Love that. He's got the intel. That's exactly what you want when that happens, yeah. when you're leaning up against an old teammate. Well, I have to ask you about Control, man, because obviously the stats don't lie. We've seen what's been going on. The Control hasn't been looking too peachy, is it, as of recent? So, you know, what really was the problem with Control for you guys? You know, what was the issue with trying to find your rhythm on that game mode?
Oh yeah, our biggest control on Control is just that every single time we're going down in lives, we're trying to rush things too fast, and you know, now we've realized that we just need to slow things down, you know, communicate where we want to go and stuff like that. So yeah, that's just been our biggest mistake, just rushing things when we just need to slow down a little bit.
I feel you, man. Well, it's looking pretty good, and before I let you go, I've got to say, Shotzzy, the hair's looking sharp today, and I'm wondering whether or not that is the key to the sharp skills that we saw from you on this series. So, is it got something to do with the lid, the new haircut?
I mean, I hope so. You know, I randomly get a buzz cut and I'm dropping, you know, what, 1.50s. I don't know what I dropped, but like, I'm doing good. So I mean, maybe it might be the haircut, but yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, you need to call up that barber, tell him he has to come through every single week. Shotzzy, thank you so much for joining me, and best of luck throughout the series, man.
Thank you for having me.
Well, there we go, we've heard from Buzzcut Shotzzy. He's looking pretty good, he's playing pretty good as well. And I'll tell you what though, the day's not over. We have a lot of talking to do, a lot of discussion to be happening after these 3-0 drops that we've seen from all of our games today. It's going to be myself and Nameless on the desk. We'll be chatting to you guys. Stick with us, and we'll see you after the break. Well, I'll tell you what, FaZe and Dallas are on that beach right now sipping gin and juice as they just secured two 3-0s. 2 3-and-donuts for their day. What an incredible start to the Florida home series. It is so lovely to have you joining us once again on the desk. And we have the results. The results are in, folks, presented by the US Army. So like I said, 2 big 3-0s, massive sweeps across the tables here. Surge versus Atlanta FaZe and Dallas versus LAG. I hope you guys have enjoyed it because it's been pretty quick today. We were moving on these series. We had things to do. I think some of the teams had things to do, clearly, because there's no messing around. And there was no playing today. But I tell you what, we did see some plays. Might not have been any playing or messing around, but we saw some plays. So we got a bit of search and I was about to say search and control. We got a bit of S&D, search and destroy to talk about. What are you cooking up for us?
Yeah, it was a great search and destroy out of the Dallas Empire. You know, they fixed some of their mistakes, and what I was really impressed by was them just identifying the hole in the setup of LAG. And, you know, they started to play towards that beach side, and in particular it was Shotzzy. They played to their strength. Shotzzy was on fire today, so they used him like a blunt force object to get their way through. And, you know, we're going to check out this round. So Empire did this a few times where they did like this map spread, and they were just waiting for the opposition to give them a look, right? So you see Shotzzy over here, he picked up on what was going on, so he just sprinted straight to the boat, and he finds Chino here sort of as like a little freebie here. And they did this a few times, so they did this spread, and they favored the beach side. And at this moment as well, you see Vivid, he sneaks up mid-map, and while he's doing that, Crim looks over and picks up a kill. So Vivid dying there, you know, a little bit unfortunate, but still fine because Crim was able to pick up one of the people that were looking for Vivid. So now they have a 3-on-2 over near this A bomb site. They have full beach control. So this is basically the optimal situation that you want. When you go over towards beach and you get that first blood, you want to get pushed up towards this bomb site, get it down and get out with your life. So you're going to see iLLeY gets it down. He's playing his life here near the bomb site. Meanwhile, Crim gets in an engagement where he dies to app, but Shotzzy's there for the trade. And if iLLeY were to plant that bomb initially instead of hopping off and getting back on the bomb, they would have been in a clean 2v1 situation. They would have all the advantage in the world, and they would have just won this round clean. But, you know, worst comes to worst, Shotzzy's left in a 1-versus-1 onto Assault. He knows where Assault is, gets the shots down, and wins the round. I mean, it was just great execution. I like the way that they approached that game, taking their time and playing a spread. Just some traditional search and destroy.
I love that. A bit of traditional search and destroy, or search and control, if you like to switch it up like me. But I tell you what, it was a nice little full circle that we saw from Dallas. You know, we spoke this morning about, you know, the way that Dallas have to perform and how they have to perform, and one of the things there was control. So it was lovely to see also control come in their favor and looking really good. A bit of a smoke show actually from Dallas Empire there with the control. And Vivid, I still feel like there's more to see out of Vivid.
Absolutely,
I still feel like there's more to give. No, he really didn't, and I do still believe in him. I'm still a believer. I think that he can do it. I just want to see a bit more aggression. But I tell you what, we do have tomorrow's schedule for you guys at the ready, presented by the US Army. Let's take a quick peek right now at what we have coming your way tomorrow. So starting our day off, we've got Paris Legion taking on LA Thieves. A big one there actually for both of our teams here. And at 4:30, we got Florida Mutineers versus New York Subliners. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because I think this is a very big game for Mutineers, and I think it's also a bit of a test for New York Subliners because Mutineers have been looking hot to trot right now. What would a win for the Mutineers do in terms of your opinion of them, Nameless?
Yeah, I think it would just solidify them in that top 4 for sure. For Mutineers, I mean, they've struggled against some of the top teams throughout the season. They're looking like they're at their best right now, and going up against New York, a team that is incredible at hardpoint, and just Respawn in general, like they have their work cut out for them. So going into that series, I mean, I'm looking for players like Neptune and Havoc to keep up the consistency, because what we've seen, it's been solid, right? Like they look a lot better, and that's what their last 2 matches have done for me is I've put them into my top 4 tentatively. They have to have a close series versus New York. Like they don't have to win it, but they pushed to game 5, show some good looks. Neptune and Havoc, they play, you know, consistent throughout, and I think it'll just, you know, solidify that for me.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there, Nameless, to be honest. For me, again, it would solidify the fact that they are here to step it up. They're here to contend. And most importantly, so many interviews that I've had now with Skies, I've had it with quite a few of the players, when they have won, on the days they have won, because they're hot and cold team, this team, they wanted to be consistent. That was the big thing. Every single interview, they would say, look, I want to be consistent, like my dog is consistently barking. Same thing. So, you know, it's, for me, it would kind of try and and solidify that for them. And I think it'd be a huge win. But again, I do agree with you as well, Nameless. Like, I think even if they don't win, if they can kind of put up the goods to a game 5 or keep things pretty damn close in terms of the game modes, then I think I'd be pretty impressed with what I'm seeing from them, especially as they're on their come up. Now, I do actually have my producer in my ear saying that we have some breaking news. I've just heard that we have a roster mania happening. So massive break. Actually, apparently it's the biggest sub that we've ever seen so far. Miles Ross Jr.
Instantly
joining
be the
FaZe.
worst team in the league. Instantly. Unless
emergency.
Unless Miles just like, you know, lost 10 years in some Benjamin Button type deal. I mean, they might be solid, but yeah.
Can I just say, I feel like this picture looks like Miles has stolen all 3 of their puberties in one, because the hair that is coming out on this guy's face compared to the others is a bit crazy. I don't know how that stacks up, to be honest. I don't know if that quite works out, but Miles, we wish you the best of luck on your journey with FaZe, and I'm excited to see what you can do as a main AR there. That's going to be interesting to say the least. I know he's got moves. Nameless, thank you so much for joining me once again. I will see you tomorrow. And folks at home, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sorry it's been so quick, but I'm not sorry that we had a bunch of bangers. We'll have plenty more for you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place, you know what to do. And Miles, we love you, mate. We absolutely love you. Can't wait to see you perform, mate. So take care, everybody, and good night.
Once more, it comes onto the shoulders of Octane. Pulling down lights, gun, Cellium.
Shots.
And with that makes things that much more difficult, but it's the flank. It's the tiny tears and assistances. That's going to be the 3rd for Simp. And could that be the 3rd round? Gunless lighting it up himself. And has it finally been the time with 2 lives left? It will be a 3-0 in control and a 3-0 in the series for Atlanta. LAG, 10 seconds away from the round 5. A quick little trade to start this one off. Vivid from the front. Meanwhile, it's Shotzzy once more through the back. A great series, but can he cap it off with the play of the game? He and Vivid working so well together. That's going to be 3 down, make it 4 down for a moment from LAG. Sheen from range, it's Crimsix as well, replying exactly what he needs to. And LAG get to the point in time, currently a stack in play for Dallas. 3 seconds on the clock. Keeping in mind it's currently delayed. iLLeY puts in the work with the Diamante, and that very well may have done it. aBeZy's on the point. He finds 2, but it's Shotzzy there for the trade, and it will be a victory in the books for Dallas Empire.